So earlier today, Dune Awakening just had a new update, and well, they fecked up things real bad. There was a location change with one of the control points, which has led to many players now resulting in their bases being in a PvP zone. What this means is players can go and raid it, their base is getting destroyed, and other players having complete free reign to loot all the items while you are offline. For a lot of you, this is a pretty horrific change, and Reddit in particular got flooded with posts reporting this. Players having their bases raided, losing all of their items, and yeah, they just want to quit, as they've now been set back so far behind with regards to losing nearly everything. There is also a bug still, where if you move between maps, you can lose items. Probably an issue a lot of you will run in today because we have to prepare for the Coriolis storm. Now the devs have acknowledged these issues, their accidental placement of that PvP control point in a PvE sector, but they seem to have no plans of a server rollback. They do state they are actively talking about their options right now and what they will do about it. I can imagine how horrific it would be. You log in and your base in the deep desert is completely gone, with all your ornithopters completely wrecked due to storms and other players just taking advantage of the situation. As this player points out, a fiasco for some or a party for others. His group lost 4 large spice refiners. Those things are seriously expensive. And then a ton of ornithopters. This group, a bunch of crawlers and carriers too. Catastrophic losses across the board, as this was the most densely populated area of the PvE section in the deep desert. Just due to it being the most central island, the control point should be in D5, but it got moved over to D6, ending up again in a lot of players' bases. And then the surrounding area at a control point is always considered PvP, like with these shipwrecks. I am somewhat in a fortunate position as I completely avoided the deep desert this week. Mainly due to being busy with other games, but also the reports of inventory loss, and it being confirmed from the devs is very worrying. There was some official announcements, both with that PvP zone change, and there's currently a connection loss issue. They did state they fixed most of the connection loss issues. I have been seeing reports that it's not fully resolved, and also they won't be fixing the PvE turned into a PvP area until the next Coriolis storm. One of the community managers made a little bit of a mess up, saying it was a visual thing and you had to relog with items missing, but this is totally wrong. People are genuinely having items going missing. You're switching between maps and all of a sudden those items from your inventory are just gone. It was asked if they would consider shutting down the servers to sort this all out, but there's no current plans to do so. Again, I have no idea what they're going to do about this. Thankfully, however, they did seem to address at least one of the permission hacking bugs, where players were able to hack into your base, mess around with all the permissions, and just loot all your stuff. But yes, for now, just try your best to move your stuff out of the deep desert. Coriolis storm happens this evening, and yeah, I feel totally sorry for any of you who ended up being affected by this PvP zone change and with losing items going between the maps. I guess all you can really do is report it, try record your gameplay, and then have concrete confirmation and evidence that you can provide to community service, and maybe they can do something about it. It is a complete mess up. And seriously, if they're not considering a rollback, I don't really know how they're going to compensate players. Because on one side, there's a ton of players who went and took advantage of this raiding, gaining a ton of other players' resources. And then on the other side, there's a ton of players who lost a load of resources just because they couldn't be online at the time, assuming their base would be totally fine in a PvE area, as it normally is. Ideally, the game devs would have track records of all the logs and everything and would be able to potentially set you back to having all the materials that were once in your possession. But yes, I have no clue how they're actually going to go about this. And I don't really know how badly people are affected, how many are, and whether this can be a manual compensation thing or not. So all we really know so far is the devs are aware and they'll be figuring it out. They agree it was a massive feck up and will very likely get an update this evening, and we'll see what they actually do to fix these issues. Once again, a special thank you to all these channel members for your added support. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.